So before we start, just sharing pedagogy and this and that and jumping in, and it's important to know why we are doing what we are doing. So I'll just have about a 15-20 minute short little, if we can call it a keynote address. So teachers that have accidentally landed up here or intentionally landed up here or whatever reason you are here, if we know the why, I think everything makes sense and it'll come into perspective. And my hope for by the end of Sunday, that you leave with a new perspective. And I want to challenge some ways that we have been practicing how we teach. And my hope is that whatever we know, we'd love to share. And if it can be a blessing and that can change the lives of a child, then our task has been achieved. So I'd like to start by asking a question. Are children born artists or are they made? Is it nature or nurture? It's not a rhetorical question, you can answer. And you don't have to take notes, this is just a talk. But it's a question, you can answer me, you can actually answer me. Are children born artists or are they made? They're born artists? They are both? They are both. That's it? Any other possible? They mostly nurtured. Okay, some agree, some disagree. You agree, disagree? Or? Yeah, please. This is open. This is a conversation. Yeah.
So basically, if we say they're born artists, we have to show them the way.
Oh, I love it. Fantastic.
Because
Thank
they
you.
don't know, they'll keep like, he's sitting over there, doesn't know.
Huh.
So I'm an artist. When he gets the right direction.
Okay, brilliant. The keynote address is over. He just said what has to be said. Yes, please.
A talent can be born, but we need to nurture the skills.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing. Now, people have different perspectives. What we believe changes the way we approach a child. Now, I'm not going to say one is wrong and one is right. Would you like to hear my perspective? I believe children are born with different talents and abilities. Everybody is naturally given. Some are very strong and some lie dormant. Now, I believe they're also born with a blank slate. They just come to us plain and they're given to us. So we as parents, teachers, caregivers, it's our job, like some of you said, to nurture, to hone, and to guide. So the answer is, it's to each one. There is no definite answer. But I believe they come with their own gift and set. So we can show them the way. And that's beautifully said for those that did say that. And the reason why I say that is sometimes if we are artists and teachers trying to bring out the artist in a child, and we believe that a child can only be born an artist, not that I'm dissing anybody's opinion if you did believe that, it's very hard for us to believe that they can learn, because we've already subconsciously in our hearts decided they're only born, they cannot learn it. So this is something that I discovered, and I'll share with you as we go for the next 2 days as to how that can be a bit of a conflict of interest as teachers, all right? So early childhood, from 0 to 7, is one of the most crucial times in development. In fact, the first 1,000 days, I'm sure many of you have heard of this, there are several millions and billions of neural connections that happen in the brain. It's like Diwali and fireworks. Every time we give a child an experience to clap their hands, to move, to sing, to do something with touch, there is a lot of things that are happening unknown to us. Now, there are a little bit of biology. We have different cortices in our brain. We have the auditory, the visual, the motor, and the sensory cortices. When we give them activities, more activities that are speaking their language, all these things are getting lit up. Another beautiful thing happens is we have different areas of our brain. I'll just make sure I get the pronunciation of them right. The amygdala, it invokes strong emotions. We've got the hippocampus for memory. We've got the corpus callosum that, it synchronizes the left and the right brain. And then the cerebellum for our entire balance. Now, giving them different opportunities to explore these areas, you're lighting up the whole brain. Now, as children grow up, you've heard this, and if you haven't, predominantly in 4 different areas. One is what we can naturally see physically, and the cognitive side. But there's 2 other sides, which is the social and the emotional side that children are naturally growing. And from 0 to 7, they are growing in a stage, and what we need to do is an early intervention. I know there's a couple of psychologists here and counselors here. Early intervention is good in multiple different ways. And this beautiful 0 to 7 is this golden, amazing time that we have. There's a famous quote that says, "Show me a child till he is 7, and I will show you the man." This was said in the 15th century by multiple people, and it's very powerful because they come to us so open, and if we can channel and use whatever they're given to us, and they're just, amazingly, we can do so much with them, yeah? So here's what I would want to paint a picture for you guys, okay? We're in school, and we're walking down the corridor, kids are playing, we get sucked into the conversation, we probably give them a high five, or we may be playing a little hand clapping game with them. That's what we do in schools during the break. And suddenly the bell rings, ring, and then suddenly something snaps, and we're like, okay, everybody, let's get serious. We are in class now. Can we have you all fold your legs and class, and we all have our little call and response, and everyone has to be prim and proper, not digging your nose. And Sydney, what are you doing there? Look here, and then we'll be, Vishnu, stop that. And because we want to switch immediately into this, I'm a teacher mode, and I'm dignified, and I'm going to be like this. And so suddenly the child's like, hey, but you were just playing with me outside, and you were like doing so many things. And suddenly there's a switch, right? There's another whole avatar that we have to become. And I've done that myself. And now, something happens when that bell rings. Now, I feel I have 3 children, all below 6. The worst punishment that I can give Levi, my 3-year-old, is go stand in the corner. No, the whole house comes down because I get Levi to stand in the corner, right? It's the worst punishment we can give them. And when we put them in one place and say, listen to me, don't move, and I'm a control freak like that. I'm like, hey, look at me and dream, but don't look out and dream, I say with the older ones, but it's the worst punishment. I think we institutionalize kids by just confining them to a place and say, now, take it. We want to enlighten them with our wisdom and all the things that we want, right? I've been in that situation. I've done that for many years until I discovered a very interesting approach to education. That's why we're all sitting here, right? Now, what I wanted to say is, children are naturally playful. And if we allow them to learn through play, we will witness an engaging, a creative, and an immersive learning environment. Now, how can we do that? In these 2 days, you'll be discovering different approaches to teach. I'm not telling you what to teach. I'm not going to be telling you, no, that is wrong. We want to say, no, Western is amazing, Hindustani, Carnatic, wow. I'm not here to say yes or no. I'm here to say, can we approach a child in a way that they love to learn? Can we leave all our adult, our grown-up inhibitions and come down to the level of the child? So that's what we want to learn. I'm going to quote Carl Orff. Is the big inspiration as to what we are doing here in India, Sing, Move, Play. It's inspired heavily by the Orff approach. Now, the quote goes like this: music begins inside human beings, and so must any instruction. It doesn't start at an instrument, not with the first finger, not with the first position, not with this chord or that chord. The starting point is one's own stillness, listening to oneself, the being ready for music, listening to one's own heartbeat and breathing. Now, this is a quote from Carl Orff. It's so beautiful that if It should start from within, and we'll discover how we can bring that out in children, all right? Now, here's another beautiful example that I try. We deal with a lot of parents, right? I love my PTMs. It's like you start in the morning, I can't even go to pee, like please, like after like 6 hours, and I can't help it. You have to run, right? But I love talking to them. But how do I get straight to the point? I'll say, hey, what's your mother tongue? And they'll say it's Marathi or Hindi or whatever. Multilingual, right? Most of us are multilingual in India. I said, how do you teach your mother tongue to your child? How do you teach your mother tongue to your child? You don't go like, this is or this is E, and you don't do all of that. We speak, the child observes, they listen, we repeat, and this whole process goes over and over and over, and before you know it, by the time they're 3, like, please be quiet, you're talking too much. They can't even write a single letter. They don't know anything about grammar. They don't know anything about anything, but they know how to manipulate you. They know feelings, they know anger, they know charm, they know influence, they know so many different nuances of language. Complicated languages. Our Indian languages are no easy. I will not even attempt to speak some of them. I'll butcher the language. But they will speak not 1, but 2, but 3 languages. And this is possible because we have an innate way of teaching children our mother tongues. We're very proud of it. We say, no, you have to learn your mother tongue. And we do it, right? And we make sure, and they don't forcefully. Do they forcefully learn? How can we employ and adopt an approach in our classrooms similar to how we teach our children mother tongues? That's what we want to discover here. Now, how do you know play works? Why play-based? I'm advocating for play-based learning because children don't like to study. Would you agree? I hated studying. I still don't like studying. The conventional way. Maybe children don't like to study the way we ask them to study. Perhaps a different approach would say, wow, maybe they will realize later, oh my goodness, he actually taught me this concept without me realizing I learned this concept. Now, that's how cool play-based approaches are. Now, a child's mind is buzzing always with ideas. There's creativity, there's so many things happening in their mind. If a child is staring out of the window, is it on them or is it on us? Whose fault is it? 50. Now, I believe the onus is on the teacher. We change the paradigm. My teachers complain, no, but sir, this guy doesn't sit in one place. I said, change the place. You go around him and teach. I know it's not practical in many situations, but if the child is distracted, there are 2 possibilities. Either the child knows the topic and is bored, or the child doesn't understand the topic and cannot connect and is disconnected. So the teacher, our responsibility is to change multiple pathways that the child can say, oh, suddenly you get the attention of the child. So that's how we could probably adopt play. So adopting a play-based approach will make a big difference. So whether you're a music teacher or a homeroom teacher or another teacher who's like, what am I doing here? If you're dealing with a child from 0 to 7, if we enter into the world of play, if we can help them discover their abilities, we can make them learn complex concepts without having them realize they are learning the concepts. So that's what we want to do, because I've tasted and I've seen, and there is no going back. I will never do a traditional music class. Come on, children, let us sing, and they have a lot of fun and they go. I will not do that because I know this is no going back. And I hope that you can experience that in the next the next 2 days. How do I know this is really working? Yeah, you may, like, we are 30 odd people sitting here. We have sacrificed whatever things, and we're spending 2 days to discover something because you want to make an impact in your classroom. Two simple examples. One is a little boy called Nived. Couldn't sing, very difficult, not a naturally musical inclined child. Now this boy, his father says, I need to give you feedback, and I'm like, oh my goodness, did we not send the fees on time? Or, I'm thinking from an operational point of view. He says, no. We were in one of these outings, family outings, 45 different people. And Nived got up, he's like, Nived, sit down. He said, no, I want to sing. He sang. I said, that's fantastic. He says, no, you don't know. He was improvising songs on the spot. I said, oh, okay. And he's saying he went on for like about 5, 6 songs on the spot, and people were astonished. And it was not some gibberish, it was something interesting. He's saying the only kind of things we're doing is sending into Tāla kids in the evening. He's saying you must be doing something. We're very happy because I can't sing, my wife can't sing. Something is different is happening. I said, oh wow, it's working. Another example, my own daughter, I've got 3 kids. First one's 6. And every parent wants to have their child walk in my footpath, right? For those who don't have kids, you will see it. We want, he's they say apple doesn't fall too far and all those things, but we want it in our skills also, yeah? And my daughter, she says, Dada, I want to sing. I'm like, yes, yes. And then she sang and off, completely off. I said, oh man, must be like her mother, dancer. No, not like that. It's going on video. I thought she's a dancer because she's got her moves and all that. But a sing, move, play was conceived the same time she was conceived also. But she's been watching us, learning us. And I don't ever tell her she can't sing on key. I show her the way. We try different approaches. And today, before she turned 6, she performed on stage with 3 chords. Of course, advantage, you have a music teacher for the chords bit, but she sang on key. And I've seen it multiple different times with many people, little children, coming without being artistic, changing and change. Because our job is not to tell them you can't sing. From 0 to 7, we're supposed to fish it out, bring it out in multiple pathways. Second example is we have 2 volunteers sitting here, Zenia and Hemant. They were like, wow, they came in, of course, they were already established teachers, but the way they give me feedback to say, hey, it's working in the classroom. She says, Kevin, you don't know how you've changed. I'm like, oh, really? Sometimes I forget I'm doing this for 21 years, and then she says, no, you don't know this and that. And I'm like, okay, thank you, Zenia. I'll come, I'll be a volunteer. I'm so happy to have her here and Hemant here. They just here 2 days just to support us. And that's proof that something we're doing is working. And our vision, we'll talk about it a little later, we run off a little time. But what I want to tell us, that this is the foundation level workshop this is open to all. Level 1, level 2 is for music teachers that we getting deeper into pedagogy. But I want to reinforce a simple concept. I want to read this out because I don't want to butcher this. Each one of us are creative in our own ways. We have our own pedagogical styles, right? All of us have formed our own. This is my way. I'm very proud of it. And I'm sure it's working, all right? We have unintentionally or intentionally formed our own pedagogies because that's how all the greats formed, and it became an approach or a method or a famous Montessori and Reggio Emilio, and that's why we're sitting here and learning all about them, right? Karl Orff in this case. But we've also formed a lot of our own blind spots. We've inspired by a lot we see and what we hear. Most often we end up teaching the way we were taught. Most often, subconsciously, we teach the way that my teacher taught. Very, very common thing. Unless you had a horrible teacher and you said, I will not teach like this guy. Yeah. So most of us are in that situation. And many of us, I was just talking to Vishnu, no one grew up, this is only biased to music teachers, okay? I want to be a music teacher at 12. No one said that. No one said that. Somewhere down the line, you got stuck in a dead-end job. I'm just saying, okay, later I can see the smiles, it must be true. And then some guy, manager giving this. An artist in a corporate is like the worst possible, connection, right? I was in the same situation. And then like, hey, I'm good with music and everyone says I'm good with children. Ta-ding! And then music teacher. And then, in these reels, like, and then you have like 30 kids, and then we end up performing for them and we do our best. We know music and we're trying to find ways to connect with children. And in your pursuit of being educators, the educator in you leaves no stone unturned. But what I want us to do is I want to challenge and question rigid methods that we've adopted. And there are many common practices that kill the joy for music. Maybe we're subconsciously doing it. Can we be a little more conscious of it? Can we evaluate the outcome? Can we let go of traditions that are bringing down a child? Because we normally look for our own liking, right? Hey, that's another Kevin. He's just like me. We're very proud of that. What about the children that can't, that are not born artists? How do we bring them across? So I want to challenge us as educators. When we're dealing with children, as young as 0, infants to 7, can we adopt a way that is friendly, fun? Can we adopt play-based education that we can make a big, big, big difference in their life? I've seen it with my own children. I've seen a big impact in the schools that we have been working. And I know many of you are doing fantastic jobs. And many of you in your own right been educators for many years. And we can still learn and still change.